Okay, so I think we're live. I'm hoping we're live.
Nothing's happening on my screen.
Nothing's happening your end. I hope we're live. It looks like we're live.
Let me try and do a refresh. Yeah,
Okay, so I think we're live.
you're live, mate.
Right. I think we are. I can hear a bit of echo coming through that headset though, so you might want to mute yourself down if you're on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi all. Andy here, and welcome to this first of the Sunday night live TT broadcasts. So thanks for joining us this evening. I've also got fellow YouTuber Car Chris in the background, so I'm going to add Chris to our little chat now. See if we can find him. There he is. Good evening, Chris.
Hi, Andy.
How you
Pleasure
doing?
to be here. Let's chat some TTs and see what's happening in the TT world.
Yeah.
And things to come.
I think you might need to put your YouTube on mute, mate, because I can hear myself twice. The beauties of live YouTubing.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. That's more like it. So, good evening, all. Welcome to tonight with myself and Chris. So, we hope that you are going to enjoy what we're going to talk about tonight. So, there's been a lot going on. So, the last time that really I've done any sort of live broadcasting and sort of spoken live was at Simply Audi just a couple of weeks ago. So, obviously, Chris and I were both at that. And Chris, what are your thoughts on Simply Audi?
I think it was a wicked show, mate. There were so many good cars there. And to be honest with you, there was a lot of TTs there, which I think was absolutely brilliant. All sorts of different ones, Mark 1s, 2s, 3s, everyone doing their own thing. I think it was absolutely great.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a real mix of cars. I know it's an Audi show, but there was just so many different sort of varieties of Audi there. Quite a few old ones. It was nice to see some real classic Audis. But for the TT, obviously you're a TT Mark 2 and a Mark 1 expert. But for me, it was nice to see so many Mark 1s there and sort of walk round and sort of meet people and ask what people are doing to the cars. Some quite interesting projects I think we saw when we walked round. And there was sort of highlights for me. There were some really like pristine stock TTs for me, because obviously you know that I like my stock ones. But there was also a really crazy hot like track car, it looked like, with like metallic-y bronze paintwork. Do you remember that one with like fins down the side? I think you spoke to the guy.
Oh, I thought was that called Big Wang TT or something.
That's it. Yeah, Big Wang. Which, you know.
Yeah, no, I've done a little video on his car. No, it's a very interesting car. Really nice guy as well.
Yeah. It was quite interesting that they had a competition, didn't they, at the end of the day, like a viewers' cars. So, and there were some like mega Audis there. There were R8s and some really high end stuff. And there were 3 viewers' cars, or sort of attendees' cars, up for the final. And I believe that I want to call her LKG Carscapes, I think her name is on Instagram. But she won it. I think she actually won the whole thing. I think she was like the first place car. And she had I don't know if you remember, she had like she had a black Mark 1, and it had lots of like pink add-on bits. So she had like pink dice caps on the air, and she had like it looks like a pink bottle of Prosecco upside down as the gear stick, and like a pink rear seat delete. So she had like pink webbing for the where the seat belts are, which I didn't even know you could get pink seat belts. But yeah, that was all pretty cool. What else do you think you saw at the TT meet, Chris, that really caught your eye?
Well, obviously Mark 1s, there was loads of Mark 1s, which was really nice. But there was one Mark 2. It was on air ride. I don't know what sort of colour it was. I don't know if it was like a butterscotch sort of colour.
It was like a minty colour. Like a minty colour.
Yeah. With the chrome sort of wheels.
Yeah.
I think he done that car really well.
Yeah. I'd never seen one that colour before, so obviously it's not a stock colour from the factory. I guess he's obviously done that himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quite interesting. So in the last couple of weeks since Simply Audi, what have you been up to, Chris? What have you been working on in the workshop? I know there's a few videos that have come out. So yeah, let us know what you've been doing.
Yeah, so I've done the clutch pedal, because obviously it's quite a common thing where they snap on that little box section.
Yeah.
So that's always been in the back of my mind since I've had that car, worrying about, is that pedal coming back? Is it coming back? and it sort of takes the enjoyment out of driving the car. So I'm glad I got that done, got that all reinforced, those extra welds around it. So I know that's never going to happen now in the future. But to be honest with you, it is a pain to do, but luckily you only need to do it once, and that's it. I don't worry about it, snapping while I'm out on a drive now, because now it's done. So that was one thing I've done. Obviously, I've got a few bits coming up, a video coming out tomorrow, and a few little bits I've done. But yeah, you know what it's like in the TT world. There's always something you want to do, and as you know yourself.
Yeah, well aware of that. I mean, for me, I've been away in France for last weekend, so I've really been steps away from it all. So the thing that I did this week, and I had a bit of time, and I've been wanting to do for a while, was the video on the fuel economy of the car, because I'm lucky enough I've got a Mark 1 225 and I've got a Mark 1 3.2. And there's always a lot of chat where the 3.2 drinks fuel, and I don't watch the speedo, I watch the fuel gauge, because that's how much it moves and how quick it moves. And I always think, well, that's fair enough, but like, a lot of people have made comments this week. If you're going to have a 3.2, you're not buying it for eking out the fuel economy and seeing how far you can get, which I totally get. But I think it's quite a useful exercise to find out exactly what you are getting, because a lot of the motor manufacturers, they say, oh, this car does 37 miles to the gallon, this does 45. But in the real world, those figures I don't think they ever match up. So it was interesting to take like a 20-year-old car or an 18-year-old car in the 3.2's case, take it on I call it normal driving week. So I took it to work one day, I put the kids up from the station, I took it to the shops, and just to find out over those sort of journeys. And I have to say, those little journeys absolutely rinse the fuel. So if I took it on the motorway, it was fine all day long. And I noticed a few people had said, oh, well, if I drive it, I've driven it 350 miles on a tank, and I've got like 35 miles a gallon. Yeah, if you're driving on the motorway, probably at 70 all the way along, and you're, not changing gear, and you're not braking, you're not, giving it any right foot, it is going to do lots of miles. But the thing with that car is, being automatic as well, I think you can't, I personally don't think you can drive an automatically as economically as you can a manual anyway. So I think you're a bit sort of held back by the gearbox. But it was quite an interesting topic to do, and it gave me an insight to now I know that my car's costing me essentially 29p a mile if I drive that car. So if I'm feeling a bit tight that week and I haven't got much money, I don't want to be taking the 3.2 out. I'll take the diesel Mondeo for a spin. But like we said, we don't drive them, do we? For normally seeing how far we can get. So yeah,
we use Daily for that.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, I'm just going to have a quick look. So I think there's a few comments coming. I think I can see some comments. Yeah, so I see what Jules saying. So he's saying, oh, you say your work van clutch pedal that snapped on the Reno. What happened there with it then? Oh, and Jules has got 23 miles to the gallon, and that's in a 225. I think Jules, I think you've got a 225. Chris, do you know what your car's getting? Sorry, mate.
Has Jules got a heavy foot?
I reckon he might have. He's got a northern foot. Yeah. I reckon they drive a lot harder up north than they do. Us softy southerners down here, we obviously don't drive as hard. That's what it is. I reckon. No.
I mean, I get about 37 in the 225.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's good going. And what about in the Mark II? What do you think that's like fuel economy wise in comparison?
Well, the Mark II, I think the most I've ever had in the Mark II was when I went up to Malvern Hills and I actually just hit 50 mpgs.
Wow, that's
I know.
That is good. I don't get that on my Mondeo. If that does 43 over a tank of fuel, it's doing well. So when they say these cars do 56, whatever they say they do, and they don't, absolutely don't.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, Andy, that journey I was just cruising. I wasn't really on boost. Obviously, like day-to-day driving. Like if I'm not ragging it, just driving normal like you did in your video. Yeah, I'd probably get, between 35 and 38 maybe.
Yeah. Well, like I mentioned that in that video, I said like my son, when we normally leave the village, we cut into the national speed limit area. I mean, we come out of a 30 into a 60, so I'll always put it into sport mode and just have a little bit of a blast. And we didn't do that this week because we were too busy watching the gauge, and while it was that maybe said that we're not driving normally because we're not doing the sport mode, but I thought a lot of people aren't going to be using the sport mode. Maybe they're going to be just driving it in drive, so see what they got out of it. So I thought it was quite interesting. But I said I've had a lot of feedback from people saying, how does the 225 compare? So I'm going to do a follow-up video, maybe not this week, because for those of you that know that the Roadster's 2 miles away from 80,000 miles. I've been saying that for weeks. I keep saying, oh, I've only got 2 miles to 80,000 miles. I still haven't done that 2 miles. I've rolled it out of the garage and I've given it a clean. And then I've rolled it, well, not rolled it, but driven it out of the garage. And then I've driven it back in and put it away again. But I do need to get it, I need to sort of bite the bullet, get it over 80,000, take the picture, cry a little bit, and then I can start using it properly again. Because obviously the nice weather's here now, I think, so we can start getting the most out of our Roadsters. So
no, definitely get the top down.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking now. Obviously, we're talking about going to the Motorist. So I know that Jules is on, and we're saying we are coming to the Motorist on the 19th of June, so Father's Day. If you for those of you who tuned in, if you want to come to a meet up north, then myself and Chris will be there. I will be bringing. I'll be bringing the Roadster though. I won't be bringing the 3.2 because well, after this week's experiment, it'll cost me about 500 quid, I think. So I'll be bringing. Yeah, I think we'll be bringing the girls as well. So they're maybe we'll put those in a car and they can drive along and tell us their stories and their verdicts on the 225 and the. Are you going to bring the Mark 1 to that, Chris, or the Mark 2?
What everyone's got fuel in at that time.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I've noticed, Chris, you've got we've got like matching T-shirts on tonight, which is a complete.
We have.
Look at us.
Hey.
I've adjusted my merch, so I've actually got my YouTube address underneath my badge now. Because I did have it on just on the back, and but I've put it on the front as well now, so people can see it. And you might have noticed if you were at Simply Audi, you might have seen one of these under your window, which I've still got lots of. And it's funny, whenever I go out the house now, I always think, oh, I see a TT, I think, oh, I'll leave them a card, and then they'll be able to have a look at the channel, and if they're interested in it, make people aware. And it's been quite cool because I've had a lot of people who've got in touch saying, oh, you've left me a card, and I didn't know about your channel. So the power of cards, Chris. There you go. It's the way forward.
I might have to get myself on these cards.
You will, yeah. So
I seen that picture yesterday, didn't I? I went past McDonald's and I saw
You saw Matt in McDonald's.
I didn't see Matt, but I seen his car in the car park.
Yeah, so Matt, I don't know if you're on this. I'm just going. I'm too busy trying to keep an eye on the chat as well. So I'm going to come back to the chat in a minute. But yeah, going back to Chris and the and Matt's car. When you sent that, I mean, Matt's car is very distinct. It's the only one that I know that's got that spoiler on the back.
And that's what I recognised it by.
As soon as you said that, I said, that's Matt. That's definitely Matt from episode. I think Matt was on episode 2 of TT Meets TT, one of the early episodes, and he's got a great car. But he's always doing new mods to it. So I know when we saw him at Dom's meet in Hemel Hempstead, he hadn't done the headlights, but I think he's now done the headlights. He'd done them that weekend when he got back. So he's always making new bits to it. I did see a picture on Instagram where he was claiming to be a fake M&M sitting in the back of his car yesterday as well. So there you go. But yeah, going back to the comments, I just see someone asked, was I on the M25? Did that say I was on the M25 yesterday? Oh, on the M25 today? No, Paul, I wasn't on the M25 today. I've been at home. No, definitely not me. But I've noticed that after a lot of people that I follow on Instagram and other places, that my car is the stock version of that 3.2 in Mauritius Blue. There seems to be a lot of them about. And there's one that's got a very similar number plate to me. So if my number plate, the only bit of difference on the number plate is the first 2 digits. The rest is identical. So it's so you might have seen that car because that one I think is in North London. So maybe it's that. So it wasn't me, Paul. But yeah. So what else you got? We've got planned coming up, Chris, on your car.
What one?
Well, either of them. They're both TT. Let me go on with glasses. They've gone crooked.
Well, the Mark II, I've got a lot of people seem to be asking. They want to do things on the Mark II at the moment. So I am looking at like maybe getting a bigger turbo on that intercooler exhaust.
Yeah.
And getting a bit more power out of that. So I'll probably put a video up on the Mark II soon of something, even if it's just going for a drive and just letting people know that it is. I do still have it. obviously the Mark 1, that seems to be where most of the money's going at the moment. Just trying to get it right, get it to how I sort of want it. It is nearly there. Obviously, a few paint issues on it that I want to sort out. Just a few like niggly bits at the moment, and obviously change that front mount intercooler to a better one. Get the engine forged, and then obviously get it remapped again, and see what we can do with it. Really.
Okay. So you think you're going to stick more money on which one? Do you reckon? Which one's going to cost you the money?
Well, I know the Mark II at the moment owes me about 14 or 15 at the moment. And considering I paid less than 4 for the car, it's quite a bit. I've probably done, I would say, probably nearly £1,000 on the Mark I so far.
Yeah.
But it didn't have an MOT when I brought it, and obviously it's all, I can use it now. It's reliable. I mean, we've been out in it a few times now, Andy, to a few different places. And it's been faultless. So I would like to say that it's not going to cost me more than 15 grand by the time it's done.
15 grand? Is that £15 or 15 grand?
Including buying it, I think if I can try and keep the whole thing under 15 to like a proper like show sort of ready car by the end of it, I'll be happy. Because the thing with the TTs is I'm never going to get rid of them. So, you know what I mean? It's the money I'm spending is for the love of them, not to get it back, because you never get your money back anyway.
No. So
it shows great content as well, and shows people what I've done and how I've done things at the same time.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's why the way I look at it now is I'm trying to look at different things that I can do to the car where we can, that everyone's going to be doing to their car because they're a certain age. Like if you want to keep your car looking pristine, then you're likely right now, after 20 years of ownership, to have a few car park dings in it. Even though, as we do with TTs, we park as far away from everybody as we can in the car park. And I noticed that someone had put a picture up today saying, look where I parked miles away from everyone in the car park, and look what I came back to, and there's a guy parked right, there's a Focus parked right next to it. I thought, yeah, that's what happens, and people, they swing the door open and give you a little pop. So my car's got loads of little like dings in it, little in the door. And one of which I have to hold my hands up and say, I'm guilty, I did, which actually breaks my heart because I did it on the gatepost. But I'm thinking I want to get them all removed. I want that car bodywork to look amazing. I want it to get back to how it should have been, like it rolled off the factory maybe. So I got in touch with a local guy, about removing those, doing paintless dent repair essentially. And I sort of said, I will do all the prep work. I'll pull all the panels off because the last thing I want, as we've spoken about before, is I don't want grommets in my door hiding where they've been behind the panel, popping stuff out. I'll remove whatever I can so we could do it properly. I thought they were about, dent repair would be, maybe a couple £100. But so there was about, I think I worked out there were 6 or 7 dents, and it's about £50 a dent. It's coming about 350, 400 quid. Well, I think, I don't really want to spend that on the car just on dent repair when I could spend that money elsewhere on the car to show other things. So there are other jobs I think I want to sort of like focus on. But,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I've got a comment here from Chris.
Yeah.
From a comment, sounds like Chris has a money tree in his back garden.
He does, yeah.
I wish I did, mate. I wish I did. I'm just, to be honest with you, I just spend most of my money on my cars because that's my passion, really.
Yeah.
I just work hard so I can sort of play hard. And I would say that is a great name, Chris Johnson, because that is exactly the same name as me.
We've had that conversation.
I am Chris Johnson as well, so fair play, mate.
Yeah.
We must be brothers from another mother or something.
Yeah, definitely. No, you're like those Mauritius Blue 3.2s. They get everywhere. Chris Johnsons, they get everywhere. So, although that Chris Johnson is not too far from me, although neither of you are too far from me, but just in different directions. So, Chris in the chat, yes, we will hook up. So I definitely want to do a review of your car on TT Meets TT. And you, Chris, you've probably seen Chris that's on the feed here. You've probably seen Chris's car on various Instagram photos. He's got the wheels. I can't really describe the wheels. I've never seen them before, but they are absolutely banging wheels. They've got all slotted edges all around the outside. Isn't any way I can describe them without sort of? I could pull a picture.
Maybe I'll have to have a Chris Johnson, mate.
Yeah, Chris Johnson meets Chris Johnson. There you go. Maybe that'll be
entertaining, wouldn't it?
That'll be like And you could, I think that's quite a niche channel, though. You know, for the Chris Johnsons out there. Chris Johnson with the TT as well, but there's more. There's more of those around than Andychargers, I think. So yeah, I see there's a few guys on the chat from the US as well. So great to see you guys on there. And so obviously I've spoken to quite a few of you guys on various chats online, and we've done various feeds as well. We did that one with Dave from Las Vegas. So if you've not seen a TT in the US you should check one out on my feed. If you go back through some of my background content, I've got a really good feed with Dave where he's bought 2 identical Roadsters essentially. So his car got trashed, and then he's bought another one that he's going to use as a donor car to rebuild his. So yeah, that was all pretty cool. So obviously I've been taking on my subscribers and are increasing, and that's great. And thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. And I am edging closer to my next goal. I think I'm about 150 something away, I think. So my next target, if you look on how many subscribers I'm just nearly at 2,000. So when I got to 1,000, I bought the 3.2. And I was thinking, what can I do for 2,000? I thought I can't buy another one, or I'll end up getting divorced. So instead of doing that, I thought I would do a little competition for the 2,000 when I get to 2,000 subscribers, or when I get there. I'm going to say that every one of my subscribers that sends me a message when I get there, and I'll have a little bit on the channel, I'm going to enter you into a little free draw. And I've got some only little prizes that I'm going to be giving away. But I've got an Andycharger t-shirt, which I've got right here. So I'll hold you up my t-shirt. I've got another one. I've got lots of these, so they are available on the channel as well. So if you want an Andycharger t-shirt, then please do drop me a message. And I've also got something to add as well. I'm going to put a little Andycharger mug into it as well. So if you want to win a mug and a t-shirt for 2,000, then stay tuned. And I say when I get there, everyone that is a subscriber, I'm going to get a list of you guys out, and then I'm going to sort of have a prize draw. So if you want to be in for a prize draw, then make sure that you're subscribed to the channels. Oh look, Chris has said yeah, he's well up for that, Chris. I don't know if he means he's well up for if he's up for the Chris Johnson versus Chris Johnson, or coming to look at your money tree. He might be coming to look at your money tree. And if he does,
he has to bring the money tree with him. Well, I ain't got one.
Yeah, well, I say yeah. If there are money trees available, please can I have one also?
Yeah, just donate a couple this way. I'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So, so I was in France last weekend, and I found out something that's quite useful for those of us that own 3.2s, because if you've never had a flat tyre in a 3.2, or if you ever had a flat tyre, you've found out that when you look in the boot, there's no spare wheel. So if you break down at the side of the road, you're in a lot of trouble. But what they do have in the 3.2 is they've got like a little pump in the boot and a little canister of fluid. Now, that's probably been in the car for getting on for 20 years. So how good that stuff is, I don't know. So if you break down and you can't change the wheel because there's no wheel to change, you need to get mobile. So either phone the RAC or replace that fluid and that pump by using some of this, which I've literally used for the first time last week. So I picked this up in France. It was €4. So that's going to be the whole job. So there's no more pumping the tyre up and putting fluid in. This does the whole lot. So you literally screw it on the valve and you press this little button and out it all comes, and it inflates the tyre. Now, I didn't do it on my car, but now I've seen it done, it puts me a lot more at ease for the 3.2, because if you've never actually done it, I can imagine it's a bit of a, if you're at the side of the road in the dark one night and that's happened, what you're going to do. So I can't really recommend you go out and try it, because once you've done it, I think you knacker the tyre. But this is doing it on another car in France, because we had a Mini with us this happened to. We used this and it was absolutely fantastic. And the guy it happened to was in a hire car, so he'd actually damaged the side. I told Chris this story already. He damaged the sidewall of his hire car Mini, while he was driving it to the Nürburgring, I like to add, to take it around the Nürburgring. So he did this, and it lasted him 6 hours all the way from France to Germany. So it's good stuff. You can drive on it as long as you drive under 50 miles an hour. So quite interesting stuff there on how you keep it going. But he did have that tyre change because it was a sidewall he'd split, and so he even held up with the sidewall gone. And he managed to get the car around the Nürburgring and get it back to the UK and fly home today. So, Yeah, all
So,
good.
Andy, you've got a couple of people on here that are saying the video's going a bit laggy.
Oh, well, do you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can.
It's a bit laggy on mine, so it's frozen on my
Is it?
screen at the moment.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not so good. Okay. Oh, Chris, I can see that Chris has said he's picked all the money last week. So, oh yeah, of course you went to France yourself, didn't you, last week, Chris? I remember you saying that you were going there, and I think you watched one of my videos on my reviews and my reports from the M20, which is was quite good. What else have I been doing on the car then? I can't remember, Chris. What have I got planned?
What have you got planned at the moment? Obviously, we've got Springfest coming up soon.
Oh, we have, yeah. I forgot about that. So that's something probably worth chatting about. If the video's frozen, hi Bob. I see you've just joined the chat.
Yeah, hi Bob.
So Chris and I and Dom are going to be hosting Springbank in my back garden in July, on the 24th of July. So some people have already messaged about it. So we're building up a list. We are going to make it invite only. So you get in touch with us via the email address you can see on the screen now. And we can allot you a space, so we make sure we've got enough space for everyone on the day. It's going to run from 11 till 4 on Sunday the 24th of July. So myself, Chris and Dom are all going to be here. It's going to be a mix of TTs. It sounds like there's some quite cool cars coming. And Chris and I did do an experiment, didn't we, Chris, and see how many TTs we could get on the garden. And with the power of... With the power of computer technology, I think I can probably show you that. See if I can bring that up. I think
as soon as you put it up on the screen.
I'll see if I can bring it up. Is it this one? Oh, here we go. It's appeared in the background. I'm going to put it over my own self here. If I let's see if I can move this up. So it's going to appear over me for a minute, all right? So I'm going to disappear.
Can someone tell me whether the computer's still being laggy, whether live's still laggy or not?
Oh yeah, someone's asked if my webcam's from the 90s. I don't think it is, Cynical Dad. No, but I'm wondering if my feed is probably being hammered by other people in my house. That could be what it is. It could be a case of my feed's being hammered, and I don't really want to swap it over. Maybe I need to. I'm not actually on an actual wired line. I'm only on Wi-Fi. So maybe for next time I'll do this on a wired line. Right. So I'm just going to turn off that picture of the garden, because that's a picture of the garden with all our TTs in it. Can you see that, Chris?
No, it's not come up on my screen. I think you are lagging behind.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm going to turn that. I'm going to turn the Springfest picture off anyway and fade it out. That's a shame that it's lagging. Howard's on. Hiya, Howard. So Howard owns a 3.2 as well, and we actually were in the same year at school. So bizarrely, we've years later we've both found out we're owning the same car. So yeah, welcome aboard, Howard. I can see it is lagging. Yeah, what I might do is I'm going to see if I can make sure I've got nothing that's hammering my my connection, which I don't think it is. But yeah, all a bit strange that. Yeah, so we've obviously got TT Springfest. Springfest TT coming up at the end of July. Chris and I, as we mentioned before, we are going to be heading up to the Motorist as well in June, on the 19th of June. So we will be there in convoy, no doubt. I think there is a meet coming up on the 8th of May as well, if I remember rightly. But I won't be attending that one. I don't think. I think that's one's just north.
What one's that one?
Is it in Northampton, I believe? I can't remember what it's called, but there was one that was coming
up.
Is that
the Edition 38 or something?
Oh, it might be, yeah. I think that might be what it's called. Someone got in touch with me about it and mentioned, are you going
Was it Alex?
Yeah, Alex mentioned it, yeah. So he said about going. Yeah, and I don't think I can make it. I haven't confirmed one way or the other yet. I mean, I would like to go to it, but it's just getting the time to go to all these things at the moment. It's just there's so much on, so...
Yeah. They're just saying on the feed now, Andy, that it's still very laggy. Chris has just said the picture has only just come up on the screen now.
Oh, right, okay. So
it is lagging behind.
Right, okay. So can you tell us, guys, in the chat, is the audio okay and the picture's just lagging behind? Is that what it is? I guess so. I'm presuming it is. I presume the audio's fine. It's just the actual the picture. I can see it on my screen, my second screen, where it's all frozen up, and the picture's now gone, so I've turned that off. But Yeah, I'm just scrolling up to see what is there. There's a load of comments I've missed, guys. So I do apologise. I'm trying to. I feel like I've got about 4 heads and 17 arms at the moment, trying to control it all. So it's but this is our first attempt at it tonight, isn't it, Chris? So we are going to we're going to try and do these more often.
Hardwire next time.
Yeah, I will hardwire it. I need to learn this gadget a bit more first before I start doing these live feeds. So this is a total experiment tonight, guys. So we will try and get it all the technical gremlins out for next time, so we can talk about a little bit more about what we've got going on. Yeah. So did you say you were going to do your wheels as well, Chris? Did you say you were going to swap your wheels on the Mark 1? I had a feeling you were going to do that at some point. You were you were keeping it a bit secret.
It's something I want to do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the more I look at the wheels that are on it, I think they do suit the car and they do look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was looking at things that are just going to stand out.
Yeah.
It'd probably what I'd put in is going to be a bit Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. I've got a few ideas in my head of what I'm thinking, but I'm not in a rush to do it at the moment. But obviously, if something came up, I may do it. I'm very spontaneous with car parts. I could sit there and not have a clue what I'm going to get, and suddenly something arrives, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I ordered that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, you have sort of it's okay. So we've got some comments here. The audio is
I see that.
fine.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah.
I see also that Alan Weiss there has put up that he's got a 2003 Audi TT Roadster convertible and it's got a spare. Yeah, I think the 225 does have a spare. I think so. If you're saying that you've got a 225 convertible, you will have that. But it's the 3.2 that doesn't have it, because when you pop the boot of the 3.2. It's weird, isn't it? Because there's like, it looks like it's got the space for one in the boot, in the wheel. It's even got the
battery.
Yeah, but the battery's there, exactly right. So the battery's no longer under the bonnet; it's in the boot on the 3.2. So where the wheel well would be for a spare wheel, you've got like a foam bracket thing that's got like the pump and the fluid in it instead. So yeah. So be interested. Has anyone on the chat, if you've got a 3.2, have you ever had to use that fluid out of the car and repair the tyre at the side of the road? I imagine Howard's probably had to do that, because I think that might come in part of his job. I'm sure he's had to fix a few people at the side of the road in the past. So be interested to know if you guys have actually done that and if it's worked. Because with the fluid being so old, if it's just turns into a bit of a calamity. The answer is don't go anywhere without a tow truck, I think. I think that applies to all TTs though, doesn't it? So be interested. Be interested to know in the chat actually is what your thoughts are on it, because when I read a lot of comments online, everyone says, "Are there money pits? Oh, they cost me a fortune. They cost me this." I'm touching wood now, and mine doesn't really cost me that much money, other than things I do to it. It's not like it's bleeding me dry and it's always going wrong. No. It doesn't tend to go wrong. I think the good thing is
people need to appreciate these cars are 20 years old now.
Yeah. I think that is some of it, and I also think when you're buying them now, if people are sort of like coming into the market to buy a TT right now, you've got to appreciate that there's going to be good ones and bad ones, as there would be of any generation. But I think the longer they go on now, hopefully the bad ones are starting to disappear because they're rotting away. So what is left should be good, or they're going to be good ones that have now gone rotten. So it could get like that. I'm not sure what the state of play is for people out there buying one at the moment. What's Alan said? Can you help me? 2003 Audi TT Quattro Roadster. Yeah, when I turn on the heater, there's a squealing noise. Then the car warms up, noise goes away. Is it the water pump?
That sounds like it's probably the alternator belt.
Yeah, it sounds like a belt to me, that does. It's what you find with a lot of belts are that they if you find in the winter time that you get a lot more slippage and noise from belts, it tends to be because obviously everything contracts, and then we used to have it with the Sportage. The power steering used to squeal when you'd have it on full lock because the belt would be slipping, and then as soon as the car had warmed up a bit and it got a bit of heat under the bonnet, it was actually fine. So you probably find if it's something that's going away as the car's warming up, as you've used it a bit, it's probably to do with like contracting the belt. So I'd check, like Chris said, If it was a bearing, like if the alternator bearing had gone, you're going to get that noise always. I think it's not like it's going to go away. But if it's something that comes and goes like that, it's probably going to be from your belt. So, Alan, I'll definitely check
It
that.
sounds like the alternator belt is obviously a bit stretched, or the tensioner's on its way out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that should sort that out.
Yeah. There you go, Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris.
There we go. Help.
Yeah. Well, anyone got any questions on hoses that pop off your intercooler? Not your intercooler, your charge pipe. Chris knows all about that as well.
Don't get a gravity charge pipe.
Yeah. Don't buy a gravity charge pipe, or sand the end of it a little bit. That'd be a way to do
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So obviously we covered that, didn't we, in that video about it? The little has to have that little notch out of it to fit over the cam belt cover. Otherwise, it pops itself off.
Exactly. Yeah, the Ford one.
Yeah.
So I mean, Ford is obviously a bigger company than a Gravity.
Yeah.
So they do a lot of research on their stuff, and also they're always lifetime guaranteed. So with the Ford stuff, you're getting top quality sort of a product.
I just see a comment there from Lee Dixon. Lee, that's a great idea. So he's bought a space saver for the car. So that's a great idea, having that in the boot. Because I think I think messing around with fluid and pumps at the side of the road is a nightmare. But even jacking up at the side of the road is a nightmare, isn't it? So that's where you think, give it a little squirt of this and it'll be all right. But yeah, that is a good idea, Lee, is to get yourself a space saver. Oh, Anthony Newcomb, not spent anything other than maintenance parts and refurb parts, never broken down. Exactly that. And I don't want to tempt fate, because if you say, oh yeah, it's never done that. But I'm exactly in the same boat as that both of mine have been good as gold. And I haven't done an awful lot of miles, I know, in either of them, but they have been, I think where I bought both of mine from had all the history with it, so it'd been looked after. They're not hugely high mileage, but they're not low mileage, but they've all been serviced well. So I think when you're looking at these cars, service history is definitely key to make sure they've been done. And also, when you get these cars, make sure that, I'm not going to turn this into a buyer's guide, but you need to make sure with a lot of these cars that things have been done. So like cam belts, if a cam belt's not been done, get it done. I think if you can't evidence those things being done, and then obviously the things with the 3.2 is things to look out for, obviously the chains, and if it's an automatic like mine, the DSG. So I think Howard can tell you tales of why of what happens when you've got a dodgy DSG. I think his has been away for some time. He's just got it back actually, so it's all tickety-boo, so looking up to seeing that. What else would you say, Chris?
Did he have a new Mechatronics unit put in it?
Sorry?
Did he have a new Mechatronics unit put in it?
I think that's what he had done. I don't know if he wants to put in the chat what he had done, but it was gone for weeks. I think he had a lot of trouble with the garage. So,
it'd be interesting to know what he had done, whether he had the Mechatronics unit replaced and maybe a new clutch pack put in or something like that.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And you see a lot of these jobs when people say you're having the chains done, you might as well have the clutch done, you might as well have this done, you might have that done. It's like, but where do you stop? If you start chucking money at these jobs, because I think the chains job seems to be about $2,000, I think, or just under $2,000 from what I've seen. But while it's out, you might as well have this done, you might as well have that done. Well, if the car's only worth $3,000 or $4,000, then people are more likely to sort of just cut their losses and run, I think. And the thing with the 3.2 is that I think is its undoing is all the parts are so expensive, like the bumpers, and I think a front bumper's £800, isn't it, for one, if you want to buy one second hand. But if you want to,
the big one,
sorry for the 3.
They're very small parts, aren't they?
Yeah, so that's the trouble. If people are looking at, well, actually, I can get £1,000 for the engine, I can get £800 for the bumpers. People that aren't really enthusiasts, they're going to break the cars, so they're going to keep going down and down and down and being less of them. But I think the other cars are going to follow suit. That they're all going to start getting to the stage where there's only going to be the real nice, well looked after examples left, and the ones that like people like me and you are looking after, Chris, as well. And there's lots of us on the chat here that are enthusiasts about our cars, and we all want to make sure they're all right. But I don't tend to see as many just people in the shopping car park now with a TT. You don't see them around as much. They used to be 10 a penny, but that's why when I went to France last week, I literally searched around the whole of Rouen for 3 days. And then I found one. And I was like, literally on the way to the ice rink. I walked to the ice rink one morning on my my little walk down there, and I spotted this one in this little under this block of flats, and that's why I put a little card under there. So I'm hoping that person has checked the channel out. But it'd be nice to know that you've got French TTs tuning. I think you've got a guy that from France that comments a lot on your stuff, Chris, haven't you? He's one of your subscribers.
I keep on doing the old French translator to Simon Parton back in French as well.
Yeah.
I've got a question here from Chris again. He wants to know, Chris, did you say you've already done the French downpipe and decat? I didn't, Chris, but luckily the car came with it. It already had a 3-inch downpipe and sports cat, full Miltech system from the turbo back. And I think that was about 1,600 quid it cost the previous person for the whole lot. So, yeah, I'm glad that was done because I didn't really pay much more than that for the whole car.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see Howard's just replied actually on what he had done. It was the Mectronics on the gearbox, and it was 1,800 quid. So gives people an idea of what these jobs cost, doesn't it, if they're to be done? And I think Howard's one is
it's one of those things, though, once you've done it, you know you don't need to do it again.
Yeah, and I'd always like to think that when you take these cars to these specialist garages now, that if you've got that gearbox out and it's the Mectronics that have gone in it, and maybe something else is about to go or is on the verge of going, that they would say to you, look, while it's out of the car, this also needs doing. And while you might think, oh, they just like making that up to make a bit more money, well, I'd hope that they would tell you these things so that you can address them again. Because if you're looking at 1,800 quid every time that gearbox is out and then it's going to go wrong again, you're going to start getting fed up with that, I think.
No, exactly.
Yeah. How's your spoiler coming on, Chris? I see you bought yourself a new spoiler.
Well, that will be coming up in the next video.
Oh, I see.
That will be.
Let's make sure we'll definitely tune in for that one then, because I think there's a bit of a story behind that, is there? Well, you can bring it up there.
There is a story about that, and I'd probably say a bit of disappointment, to be honest with you. It wasn't what was advertised when I sort of brought it, but obviously when I went there, luckily I went to go and pick it up. So obviously I did actually see what it actually is.
Yeah.
It might be something that might stay on the shelf, or it might be something I'll give away and see if someone else can make some use of it. For me, it's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I think, like we said, didn't we? When we're doing these things to these cars, we want to make sure we're doing it the right way, and we want to use the right parts. And I think that is definitely not the right part. But it might be for someone. It might, they want to take it to the next level and make that fit in some way. I don't know. There might be a project there for someone.
Exactly. I mean, the previous guy obviously had it fitted to his. So I don't know why the fitment is so bad at the moment. Because if it fitted on one Mark 1 before, then surely you'd think it would fit on another Mark 1 the same way.
Yeah.
Unless it was quite a bad fit on his one. But for me, it was just unacceptable. I'm not going to waste my time prepping it, painting it, to put it on to just not be happy with it. It's not worth my time.
No, I totally get that. It's so I know you've talked about doing the wing mirror recently, so that's also something you've got coming up, isn't it? But
yeah, the old lacquer peel on the red's quite a popular thing. The old lacquer going. Yeah. So I thought I'd have a go at sorting out a bit of that. So yeah, we'll see in the next video what happened with that.
Yeah, bodywork's definitely something I want to look at. So on my 225, as you've seen, I've got a split in the paint on the rear bumper. So the bumper's not cracked, but I think at some point someone's pressed the bumper in, so there's a crack going through the paintwork. So I don't think it's a paint repair. I think it's going to have to be repainted. But be interested to see what you guys think in the chat. Is it better for me to repaint that myself or have it professionally painted, or is it better for me to try and find a second-hand one on eBay or somewhere similar where I can get a matching silver one for the back of my car for the money? It might be cheaper to do that than actually have my bumper painted. There's nothing wrong with my bumper, but what's your thoughts really? Should I just get it replaced, or should I have it repainted? I know we looked at it, didn't we, Chris? And it's a little bit, it's bad, and I think it really lets the car down. The car. Other than that, the car's great. There's a little bit of lacquer peel, and I don't know how I'm going to treat that. So on the Roadster, there's like a black lip that goes around where the hood is that sits against the bodywork. It's like plastic, sits around it, and it doesn't look like you can get underneath it to remove it. I'm not sure how I'd get it off, but the lacquer peel literally goes up to the edge of it and around on the paintwork. So I'd have to remove that if I want to repair the lacquer, but I'm not sure I'd do that. But the bumper, I think it would be cheap to buy £100 bumper and swap it out. Because it'd be nice to have it done. What would I do with it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Give it a go.
Is it worth just having a quick go then? See, that's the way I'm sort of looking at things.
Yeah.
Now. It's sort of like, have a go. If it comes out okay, it's okay. If it comes out bad, I've got to get it done anyway.
Yeah, you are right.
But it might be something for you to learn how to do painting. I mean, I'd love to be able to do painting and stuff personally.
Yeah. I mean, doing it with rattle cans is all great, but I would like to have a compressor and a gun and do it all pucker in the garage, but and get high on the fumes, no doubt. But it would be quite good. But yeah, I think I might give it a go. I think you've got a good point there. I might try and just give it a go with the rattle cans and see it comes out. I think
I mean, silver's quite a hard colour to do. I think there's so many different shades.
Yeah, it's funny because I did when I sold the Kia, that was a silver, like metallic silver, and I did that myself, and it came out all right. I did spray it and it came out, but obviously I was just doing that to sell it rather than to keep it and admire it. Because obviously I want it to look the business, I don't want it to look rough. But no, there's lots of things. I'm also going to do the DSG. I've noticed is getting really quite eager when I'm pulling away. Where I mentioned we put it in reverse and it wants to take you off before you start going. I'm finding that the DSG now is whenever I sort of go pull away, it's not engaging. As soon as I pull away, it's getting quite jerky to pull away. Not jerky once you're going, but that initial like you've almost got, if you were doing in a manual car, like you're not actually feeding the biting point in enough. That's how it feels like. It's a bit keen. So I've seen online that you can do like a manual reset of the DSG, and it can sort that. It helps the DSG like relearn what you're doing. So I'm going to give that.
The adaptation.
Yes, the adaptation's exactly right. So I am going to try that. I've seen a lot of people say you need to do it with ODB11 or VAGCOM or something to reprogram it. But I think, well, I've seen other people saying you can do it by putting your foot on the pedal and turn the ignition. So I'm going to try that first, and I'm going to document it. And if it works, I'll share it with you guys on the channel. And in fact, if it doesn't work, I'm going to share it and I'll say what it doesn't do and I'm going to show what it does right now and how it's performing and see if that helps. But
I think it's one of those things, and it's quite hit and miss, because I remember I told you that I took my Mark II went in for a service, and I got my mate to reset the adaptions of my DSG box on that.
Yeah.
So what I did the day before I took it in, I done the pedal thing. I thought, something, I'll have a go and see what happens. So I did it, and to be honest with you, it did feel better after doing it. But then when I went to the garage and they reset the adaptions, I could actually hear it banging into gear. So it must have been well out. So I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced on the pedal thing. I think it is hit and miss. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Stuff like that. I mean, you've got nothing to lose trying it. So it'd be interesting to see what happens when you do yours.
Yeah, so obviously I did I had my oil changed in my DSG, and I had it's all like done with Audi parts. It's all Audi oil. It's not done with any sort of aftermarket stuff. I had it done by some guys who aren't Audi specialists, but they all drive nice looking Audis, like souped up Audis. When I pull up at the garage, they've all got it. So I trust them. They did the cam belt on the 225 as well. So when they did it, I don't think they did the adaptions. I don't think, if it needs tools, I wouldn't have thought they'd have them at that particular garage. I don't know, I might be wrong. But that's why I'm thinking, I've had the oil done, but maybe I should have taken it to a specialist to have the oil done that would know about the adaptions. I think you mentioned that guy by you that does all that sort of stuff. So I think I might look at doing that next time, maybe taking it to some specialists. Right, I mean, a lot of things we can do ourselves, can't we? We know that, and we're happy to give it a go. But at the same time, there are jobs. Of the whole thing. But what I'd like to do, I'd like to have an engine at home that I can strip down completely. I've got no idea when it gets to mechanics, but not that I put in the car. But so I can take it apart and I can look at it and I can film what I'm doing, explain what I'm doing to share with you guys what you can do with these cars, really. So give you that understanding how the workings of it are. I think it'd be quite a good thing to do.
But, yeah, Chris has commented again. He's got a body shop.
I see that. I'll be in touch, Chris. Yeah, I'll definitely be in touch with you.
Be in touch with him.
Yeah, I think we'll all be going there. You're going to have a queue of people, Chris, if you keep saying things like that, I reckon.
Yeah, there's loads of body work I need doing.
Yeah. So do you need reset? Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do, Howard. I'm going to try that trick I found online to reset that DSG and see if I can get it to learn how I drive, because obviously it hasn't learned how I've driven it, I guess. It's definitely a bit jerky. But one of the things that I didn't have, because those of you that have seen, I've got my little OBD2 reader, my little gadget I use, which is not as flash as Chris's one, but it does read all the codes and it gets all of the... I use that car scanner app. And then when I went to France last week, I put my shorts on. I was I've got my dongle with me. I don't know why I need that if I'm coming to France. Anyway, at some point in those 3 days, I've lost it. So it's disappeared. But I've just bought another one.
No.
Yeah, but I bought £12 on Amazon. So I've just bought another one. And but
I thought you might have upgraded to an OBD11.
Well, I know. I've got you for that.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah. I don't go anywhere without it.
No, you are right. No, I will. I'm going to look at some alternatives behind that. I mean, it's always handy to have in the car for reading simple codes out, and it solved the problem on the Kia. It told me that I had the MAF sensor gone. The MAF had gone, and I told me that, replaced it, and the problem went away, and it was fine after that. So it is able to identify a lot of the simple stuff. I think it was able to read off the codes for the chains as well. So, when people say, "Oh, you need ODB11 or you need VAGCOM or you need VCD," whatever you need for it. These cheap ones can do it, but I know from using your dongle that it was reading a lot more codes out, and it was finding a lot more problems, wasn't it, with both the cars actually. So I think that'd be maybe we can offer a little service on at Springfest for we can. How many codes can you find wrong with your car? It can be like see who can get the most codes.
We should do a competition to who's got the most codes on their car.
Well, I reckon it'd definitely be me most of the time. But it'd be interested to see if I can solve that problem as well on mine, where I've got an intermittent fault that comes back every couple hundred miles, where tells me it's the lambdas sometimes, and sometimes tells me it's the MAF. So I'm not sure. So I think I might start buying a few bits up like that, so I've got spares to reuse. If I don't know if you saw, but Steve Bridland is selling the Mustang car. So those of you that have seen some of my TT Meets TT, episode 6 I think it was, Steve Bridland's got the car that looks like a World War II fighter, and he's done a lot of work on it. And Chris, he's done he's just put those massive those Porsche wheels on it. Yeah. He's put a load of work into it, and it's hand painted with it's airbrushed, and it looks amazing. But he's got it up for sale. So if any of you out there are interested in buying that car, definitely get in touch with me, and I'll put you in touch with Steve, because I did say I put the word out on the channel about that, because it's it looks like quite a nice little project. I mean, it's all done. If you want to drive around and something's a bit different, then it's definitely a project to look at. I think he's done quite a bit of work under the bonnet as well.
It's quite a tidy one, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think. I mean, I've only looked at it from afar. Really, I haven't got really deep under the bonnet. I've looked a little bit under the bonnet, but he's done some nice changes to it, some mods to it. I think he's done the rear seat delete and things like that, and he's owned a few TTs, so he does know his stuff, So, but what can we say? But. Yeah, any more? Oh, right. So,
Andy, you don't have a 225 coupe, though, do you?
No, I don't, Chris. No, I don't. I don't have a 180. I don't have a 150. I don't have a Quattro Sport. There's a lot of things I don't have. There's a lot of things I'm not going to have, because I haven't got the garage space for it. But I've probably got room for one more, I reckon. But it's going to have to be. So obviously I've spoken to you about a little project I've got in the back of my mind, which I think we'll have to have a little chat about offline and see if we can look into that, because I think that would be quite an interesting idea of mine. But we'll see how that goes. we have talked about doing maybe a little run to the coast, haven't we, Chris, as well? About going down to. So we might look at doing that as well and getting a few of you guys, if you're local and fancy doing a little run to the coast one weekend. See if we can.
Let them know what it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. So what me and Andy have been talking about is doing basically like a London to Brighton sort of run in TT. So obviously you see they do it in the old cars. They do, I think even Minis, they've got a London to Brighton one. I thought, why don't we just do one in the TT? So if any of you guys are up for it, drop me a message, Andy a message, and we see if we can get enough of us together and have a good sort of trip down to the coast.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite good. I think we're going to do a little dry run and see what it's like. I've done the London to Brighton a few times on a bike, so I know the route quite well. But yeah, we thought we might try and replicate it in the cars. Maybe meet up in London and have a slow journey down. And I don't think it's not going to be sort of like an organised event. So, but we can just have a little run down there and see how it comes out. So if anyone's interested in meeting up one weekend and doing a little London to Brighton the TTs, then we'll definitely look see if we can sort something out.
No, definitely. I think that'd be good. I mean, I don't know if it's something we can do it like properly, whether we can actually like reserve like a parking area or something like that down there.
Yeah, we could do.
Don't look into.
Yeah, there's I can't remember the name. I want to call it like Jamaica Crescent or Jamaica Promenade or something like that. It's called or no Madeira.
You want about that bit where they park up? Why you've got that sort of that road that goes up at a slope. You think about parking down on that bit underneath.
I'll call it. I think it's called Madeira Road. I think it's called. There's a road that runs along the front there.
Yeah, so I think you're right. That's
where the bike ride always ends down there. So I'm wondering if we could maybe organise something so we can, maybe get some TTs and head down there and see if we can we'll meet up along there, or meet up in London and then head down from there. There are some roads that I would say are not car passable on the London to Brighton, because there's a bit where you have to push your bike and walk almost because there's so many people. So, but it'd be nice. I think going up and towards the end you go up a hill called Ditchling Beacon, which is a bit of a challenge. But if you are a decent cyclist, you can stay on, just so you stay to the side. So if you're or if you want to get off, there's nothing wrong with that either. But yeah, I think we could take the cars down there. I think going over Ditchling Beacon in the car be a great photo opportunity at the top of there. There's some good car parks at the top as well. It's a little bit like where we met with Toby when we did the filming for our episodes with him on his car, and when we met him over on Ashdown Forest. It's a little bit like that.
Oh, where it's freezing cold.
Yeah, might be freezing cold. There's a nice toilet around the back though, isn't there, Chris?
Yay!
Yeah, so there's no toilets around there, so there's plenty of bushes. Yeah, okay. Right, well, that's been an hour, and I think we've talked all things TT and all things not TT. Oh, one thing, did anyone see that little Citroen Ami that I went for a little drive in last weekend on that live feed? That was nuts. I highly recommend getting one of them. So if you want to drive around any town and you have a problem with parking, you can literally pick it up and put it in your pocket. It's so small. Definitely check that. It's definitely worth having, yeah. Oh, look.
You said it was as well.
Yeah, it was really rapid. Looking at the stats online, it's not rapid at all, but when you're in it, literally. So the idea of it is a quadricycle, and it's symmetrical front to back, left to right. So the driver's door on the French, because French cars here, the driver's door opens to the hinge at the front, and the passenger door opens to the hinge at the back. So you can literally unbolt the body, lift it up, spin it around 180 degrees, put it back down, bolt it up, and it's all the same. It's weird. So the only difference is the lights on the front are obviously white, and the difference in the back are red. So that's the only difference between it. So it's definitely worth checking out. I think they're going to be available in the UK for about $6,000 or something. So quite cheap. Really? But it's not a car; it's a quadricycle. So I think you need a motorbike license to drive it. But it's got 4 wheels and gets the youth of France around. So yeah, all right. I thought I'd just chuck that in there as well towards the end. But yeah, so please, guys, if you are looking to come to Springfest, drop me an email at the email address on screen now, so we can reserve you a space. The next thing,
how many places is there? Is it 30 or 35?
I think it's 35 spaces. There might be a couple more now because I've taken a tree down in the garden today. So so that first big tree as you come in, I've taken it down because it had died. So there's might be some extra space up the side. But yeah, so 35 TTs we can get in the garden. easily. That we could probably get more in, but we want to make sure you guys have got plenty of space to get in and out and open your doors and not prang each other. So as long as there's lots of space in the garden. So it'd be 11 till 4 on the 24th, and I'll definitely have the I'll crank the barbie up as well, and we'll have a few hot dogs and stuff, whatever's going on as well. So it'd be nice.
Have a good chat and meet everyone. It'd be nice to see people and check out their cars and stuff.
Yeah, there's so many of you guys that you give us great support on the channel. It's and without you guys we can't do this because it's so great to get all the feedback we see.